Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Artosis and CowGoMo here on Kulas Ravine. This game promises to be interesting. This is part of one of the newer patches, I believe. I'll have to go ahead and take a look at, let's see, the barracks. Barracks do in fact take 65. Okay, so this is not one of the newer patches as I originally thought, but hopefully this game will be interesting nonetheless. Command Center, CowGoMo, Zerg versus Terran matchup here on Kulas Ravine. We're really wondering how this map is, or how play is going to really evolve. Perhaps the Zerg player is going to go ahead and get that spawning pool as like normal, not build any Zerglings really, maybe one or maybe 2 to 4 in order to scout, and then getting roaches. I expect the Terran player to respond by teching to Marauders, maybe a single or double barracks, and then perhaps switching eventually to either Medevac and Marines to counter the oncoming Mutalisk, or to try to go for siege tanks in order to try to counteract the Hydralisks. That seems to be the way that I've seen a lot of the Zerg versus Terran matchups play out recently. Artosis now moving off to this north-hand side, revealing that there is no cheese. CowGoMo did not in fact lift off and then try to build his supply or his command center here and start mining from this location. I've seen that strategy, and I think that needs to be fixed up for Kulas Ravine. Put in some destructible rocks in this location. Maybe not the full 2,000, maybe just like 500 hit point destructible rocks, as you very easily a Terran player can start out mining his opponent and make it very difficult for, say, another Protoss or Terran player to really do any scouting out. Taking a look at the front door of CowGoMo, CowGoMo able to choke this off with a single supply depot and the single barracks over here. A little bit curious on how or why Blizzard designed this map the way they did. This location is the only location that has like this very nice pristine ledge, and just like it's all like manufactured, while all the other spawning locations on Kulas Ravine look to be completely natural. So not quite sure why they did it that way, but perhaps there is a reasoning to their madness. We have Artosis now coming out, scouting out to the left-hand side. Will find CowGoMo spawning on the bottom left-hand corner, getting that orbital command as quickly as possible, building another supply depot as well. Taking a look at the unit productions, we have orbital command and now a factory. So an early factory from CowGoMo before a reactor or a tech lab, getting a secondary marine just in case there are in fact going to be a large number of Zerglings. Taking a look at this, yeah, Roach Marine finally in play, injecting that, or spawning that larva as quickly as possible in order to be able to generate a very large army. Taking a look at the income right now, 17 versus 16, and both players still operating off of a single gas at this point. CowGoMo does in fact have that mule though, so that mule going to be returning many more minerals than even 3 or 4 drones. Supply depot now getting in position, and now CowGoMo repositions that barracks, dropping a tech lab in order to perhaps produce some Marauders, and also getting a bunker as well. So that bunker on the south hand side in order to be able to fight back any of those units, and also increasing the range of those Marines. Coming back over here, oh no, that's a barracks? I thought I saw a factory being built earlier. It looks like he cancelled that factory and started building a barracks instead, so going for dual barracks, but I'm not quite sure I understand this move, as Artosis is going roaches, and those siege tanks probably would have been a much better use, but perhaps he wants to go mass Marauders. Is he building a tech lab down here? Yes, building another tech lab and going for triple barracks, so trying to use Marauders to counter roaches as opposed to siege tanks. Perhaps he expects that there is no layer yet, so perhaps Artosis is going to extend the early game and try to push with mass roaches instead. So 4 roaches going to be pushing on this front door. SCV is now coming into repair, and they're going to be trying to take down this single supply depot. SCV can repair in this particular position, and this bunker with a really long range, able to fight back the Punisher grenades. The range on Marauder is in fact 6. So inside that bunker should have a range of 7, and that's how you saw the extended range attack of those units. Another barracks being dropped into play. Perhaps he's going to build a reactor or a tech lab. If he, not quite sure what he's going to be going for another tech lab. So he's going triple tech lab. That means that we definitely expect to see a lot of Marauder play. I expect Artosis, yeah, to go for a layer and then go for a layer and then go to Hydralisk or perhaps Mutalisk. with the amount of gas that he's invested, I would suspect Mutalisk, as he's not going to really be able to produce the necessary Marines unless he lifts off and tries to, unless he lifts off and tries to build a reactor core. He is in fact, however, researching stim pack, and also he may not be getting that combat shield. Taking a look once again at the harvester count, it is 27 for Artosis against 24 for CowGoMo. Large number just roaches sitting on this front door. Perhaps those roaches should move out, and let's see what Artosis is planning to build. He is in fact going to build that Hydralisk Den, not going for the Mutalisk as I originally thought. I do believe that the Hydralisk Den is in fact a good choice of units at this stage in the game. Perhaps he should probably get some evolutionary chambers as well in order to upgrade that damage and that armor on those units. Artosis has to be aware that there's a large number of Marines and Marauders now moving out. Looking to be about 2 Marines and 9 Marauders. Those Marauders now going to go ahead and take up that Zonaga Watchtower. No, deciding to double back and then deciding to push. That one Overlord sitting on this high ground going to get shot down, and Artosis is definitely going to be in trouble. Will he be able to get those Hydralisks out in time? Hydralisk Den is completed. Taking a look at the production count, 8 Hydralisks now being produced, and wow, those Marauders trying to chase down that poor Queen. Queen getting focused down, and is he going to try to transfuse infusion? No, not able to get that infusion, and no more Hydralisks should be able to be produced. Those Broodlings now going after those Marauders, and now a large number of Hydralisks and Roaches trying to push back against this fight. This Hydralisk should be able to push back this attack. And wow, no, because of those units and stim pack now being researched by CowGoMo, but the rest of this army is going to be destroyed. So Artosis fending this attack off fairly well, but in a little bit of trouble as he no longer has this hatchery. Going to go ahead and drop down another hatchery for Artosis most likely, and then try to push in on this front door. But perhaps there's siege tanks, bunkers. Nothing really with the high range units. Those Hydralisks should have that range upgrade, and with that range upgrade we'll be able to in fact start attacking that front door. Down goes that one supply depot. Will they be able to take down that tech lab is the question, without getting hit by those Marines? No, in fact getting hit by those Marines. One Hydralisk getting taken down, another Hydralisk getting taken down. But now with double bunker, CowGoMo is fairly safely defended in this position. Perhaps those Hydralisks want to come around that back door and leave an Overlord here or up here in order to keep track of that front door, as double bunker is going to be very difficult to push in. Taking a look, we have the weapon upgrade finally on the infantry, and those Marines now trying to push back on that back door. Are those Hydralisks are now just deciding to push back, not really wanting to commit. Roaches now being spawned as that hatchery is nearing completion. So Artosis trying to once again regain the economic advantage. Meanwhile, CowGoMo getting a siege tank and getting some siege tech as well in order to be able to guard that front door a little bit better. Command center now being lifted off to that high end side. 5 SCVs in those. 5 SCVs in that cargo bay, and going to be dropped and going to go start mining. Meanwhile, we have Roaches and Hydralisks trying to take down these Destructible Rocks. So Destructible Rocks making it much closer for Artosis to push into CowGoMo's base. We have, what, 4 Marines with bunkers and a siege tank which is nearing completion, or a siege tank which is nearing completion, should be ready in the next 10 seconds. Marines now coming back, perhaps going to siege in here as we have a single Overlord. CowGoMo also building that missile turret in order to make sure that no Roaches can get into this position or perhaps try to travel around. Taking a look at these Destructible Rocks have not been taken down and no damage has been dealt to them. So these Destructible Rocks will be staying. I guess he just wanted to get down as many of those Destructible Rocks as he could. Evolutionary Chamber now being built, perhaps to finally get that weapons upgrade. Marines now trying to chase down this poor Overlord. Overlord without that movement speed, getting taken down very quickly. CowGoMo now lifting off his barracks with 2 siege tanks on that front door. He is fairly confident he would be able to hold that position. Perhaps should try to move a siege tank up into this position as well, as it would semi-protect this top expansion up here while still covering this ground down here. Starport now being built, and will we see a medevac? Yeah, medevacs, no reactor core, just a single medevac, and engineering bay currently being currently researching that infantry weapons upgrade. Stay tuned for part 2 and the conclusion of this replay between CowGoMo and Artosis here on Kulas Ravine.